You're listening to the Business and Life Podcast, where 7 days a week, proven entrepreneurs share their success stories, failures, and give you true value on how you can build a great business and an awesome life. With your host, Mike Olivas.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mike Olivas with the Business and Life Podcast. I've kind of broken down top 10 things that I feel I've done, as well as other entrepreneurs and other business owners, of course, out there going through the COVID-19 struggle, to ensure that we might be able to help out our tens of thousands of business owner listeners that I know are listening to this. Some things may not be as obvious as others, but I think it's definitely something that I just want to really break down. During these times, I don't need to go through the breakdown of what everyone's going through. I get it. You get it. I think there's enough drama out there for us to have to go into all the issues. But moving forward, how to be productive, right? How to move the needle still during a time where it's hard to move it, during a time where there's zero revenues coming in. One of my companies, again, my main business, National Group Travel, zero revenues coming in, and all of them stopped. So definitely feel the pain of everyone's out there, but the best thing we can do is just kind of break it down. And I know the first thing is the financial side. If you're not creating a cash flow budget, you definitely have to. And just like me, I asked an advisor, of course, to make sure that we double checked our cash flow, making sure that we knew what our fixed costs, and more importantly, how do we start labeling those fixed costs as necessities or things that are not necessary. Very simple. You break down your P&Ls, okay? And you need to break it down out to a CSV file, an Excel file, Google Sheets file, whatever you have. And you need to just break down everything from a fixed cost monthly standpoint and put an X, go down the sheet. This is where you're going to have to do these things to make sure you stay alive. Go down the sheet and find out what is necessary and what is not necessary. And here's how to label necessary. Without this, the company can't move forward. That's how you define that. So put that on very top of that cell. Without this, the company cannot move forward, and put an X down everything. Anything else, get rid of, okay? When I say get rid of, just stop it. Stop the actual subscription. Cancel the card that's connected to it, which brings me to another point. You should probably cancel all your cards. And most people are going to look at me and say, why, Mike? Why would that be necessary? One, too many vendors have your cards. Okay, too many vendors have your card numbers. It makes me think of the Seinfeld episode where Kramer tells Jerry Seinfeld, hey, man, I'm changing my phone number. He said, why? Chicks, man. Too many chicks have my number. Well, same idea, okay? In this situation, it's vendors, okay? Vendors have your card number. And take it from me, vendors were finding a way to charge our card that was on file over a year ago. It is pretty much, let's figure out how to make this shit work situation with every business out there. And whether it's a hotel, whether it's a banquet event, whether it's a group event a group venue that we've had, people were charging it. We had to cancel everything. What that pretty much means is the concept here and the ideology behind it is that stop it at the root, guys. Stop it at the root. All the way down to change your bank accounts. Change your bank account if you have to. If you need to find a way to protect the money that you have now, you change it. If someone has to come fight you for it, let them fight you for it. This is the situation that we're in. This is a very unfortunately, business war situation that I've seen firsthand and had to take these exact steps to ensure that, bottom line is, you are focused on the future, the growth. And then, of course, the other piece is going to be, how do you analyze your cuts necessary to ensure that, you're securing the key business functions? Well, you're going to have to break that down a little bit in terms of your own business and those business functions to move forward, like I mentioned before. But let's go into people. We all know that people are the highest fixed cost, majority-wise, of course, and definitely in a service world, in a service industry, that have to do with any kind of bottom line fixed costs, and your gross margins are going to be affected mostly by your people. Now, I took something I like to call the human factor, okay? I broke down the employees that absolutely were necessary. I had to let go of more than about 80% of our employees. Hardest thing we've had to do, hardest part of the job. It's no different than a lot of entrepreneurs out there that still have to do this on a yearly basis. Unfortunately, we had to do it all at once this time, right? Over the last month, I know everyone is getting dropped like flies, and it sucks. I'm not going to sit here and try to sugarcoat that. It sucks. It's the hardest part of the job. But what it does do is gives an opportunity for you as the business owner or manager or the executive level that's listening to this podcast right now. Think about, who do I need? that same process that you're going through as necessities on your P&L sheet, people's names are on there. I understand they have lives. I understand they have fixed costs as well. Everyone's going through this. It's your job to make sure that the company moves forward if you believe in it, if it's worth it to you. I had to break down and sit and have a heart-to-heart with my main employees and say, listen, I can't pay you what I was paying you before. But what I can do is ask you to break down your costs, your actual fixed costs to live, to eat, to live, and to pay rent or mortgage every month. What is that number? And let me see what I can do to dig into my own money, into my own business, into our P&Ls, into our cash flow statement and say, yeah, I think I can make this work. And that's what I did. And I guarantee you, your employees will likely they'll praise you for it more than they will just allowing the business to go down the drain and say, unfortunately, right now, we're going to just hold off. What could you be doing right now with your key people, showing them that they're the key people, giving them the props that they deserve, and keeping the loyal, most important employees, and possibly using this opportunity to get rid of the ones that are not loyal and are not the ones that you feel are going to be moving forward with the company anyways. And you know who I'm talking about. You have those people. So remember that, look at these challenges and opportunities. And that's what I'm trying to do here with you today. Challenges can become such great opportunities. And this is one of them. Analyzing what you have had your fixed costs. And if you haven't done that in a while and you're a smaller business and you might be doing the books, you might be the QuickBooks, you might be the bookkeeper, and you're the chief everything officer right now, okay, as the CEO. I get it. I've been there as well. So breaking down these numbers are really going to help you see what your nut is every month and how to overcome the objection of, okay, can I make it through this process with how many, let's say, years of potential, months of potential zero revenue situation, right? So we know layoffs and terminations and furloughs are part of the game right now. Remember that your employees can be your greatest strengths, and some of them can be your greatest weaknesses. What we want to do is focus on the strengths. And I want to make sure that you guys understand that this could be a great opportunity for you to move forward from a just overall, let's focus on who does the nuts and bolts of this company and can move us forward. Who are the best creative minds and hardest workers in the business? And let me ask them if they would be willing to stay on if I asked a few hard questions, okay? Remember, in order to get comfortable, you have to get uncomfortable. This will be uncomfortable. It was for me, and it will be for all of you, but that's okay. That's part of the growth process, right? So ask the questions. Hey, Jason, if I were to keep you on board, how would that be something that interests you, but I can't keep you on board for your full salary? What do you think? Jason's obviously going to come back and say, well, how does the money part work, right? You just simply tell them, listen, I know that everybody in the country right now is going through a bad situation. What I'd like to do, Jason, right? Timmy, whatever it might be, Brittany, let me break this down. What do you need from me to ensure that you're okay, that your family's okay? Maybe it's not 10 grand, maybe it's not 5 grand a month, but maybe I can pay you your exact fixed costs. And if you're just honest with me what that is, I will be honest with you as well and tell you if I can make that happen. Try it. I guarantee you the outside the box thinking is better than sending an email, or at least coming back from that email that you've already had to send likely and say, sorry guys, business is done. Think about it, break it down. What could they be doing right now to focus on the future? Tax payments, of course, is a no-brainer, making sure that you're offsetting the cost of your taxes. We knew that happened right when it was due, right? We knew that the due date is now and or obviously in the next 30 days that it generally is. Take those 90 days and understand that not until July 15th that most individuals and small businesses have to pay their taxes. So make sure that you're using that as what? Cash flow, stack it. If you're not using the other means, which is mortgages, right? I'm taking every angle that I possibly can to, one, get all the money that we possibly can, because as a travel company, we feel that we might be, in a good position, but we don't know. We know banks are, there's still human process of all these applications. Think about it, there's millions of applications. You have to be innovative. If you're waiting on the money to come in to solve your problems, you're not going to be innovative enough to be the person that goes through this. I promise you got to be thinking outside the box here. And the SBA Disaster Loan Assistance Program are definitely, it's there and it's great and it's awesome as how they're pitching it now. Let's hope that that's the case. But in reality, we know that can take 30 days, maybe 60 days. Who knows? 90 days. We're talking about millions and millions of applications coming in at once that humans still have to touch. Okay, I'm not saying that there's not any kind of automation processes and robots in terms of bots going through and pre-qualifying the process, but at the end of the day, there's still people touching these things. It's going to take time. So make sure you understand that there's, of course, the 90-day furlough time, the rent, of course, from your mortgage or from your landlord or whoever it might be. Protect cash flow in every possible way that you can. Let it touch on the back end, okay? The SBA disaster loan, of course, making sure that you're going and learning that from every level. It's 800 plus pages, okay? I went through every page of that thing. Now, I didn't read every page, but I went through everything and made sure that I knew exactly what was necessary. If you want my breakdown, I'll send it to you, by the way. Just email me, mike@michaellevis.com. Happy to send you the breakdown of the 800 pages. It's cliff notes, if you will. But at the end of the day, just go online. There's 3 different kind of loans that you're going to apply for, and you're going to definitely want to do that sooner than later. The obviously the EIDL, the SBA, and then, of course, the PPP. So outside of that, we got to remember a little bit on the next level here are going to be, just what your organization from a sales and marketing standpoint can do now. Well, branding, trust, things that you're able to kind of push through as, a business that is going through hell, right, with other businesses and also other individuals. And if you're a service, if you're a product, whatever it is, you don't have to send a ton of emails. A lot of people are sending emails right now from, Constant Contact or something. I'm sorry, but I don't need to hear from Constant Contact about how COVID-19 is affecting the world, et cetera. I got enough of that, and so do you. What does your company do? How does it react? Well, bottom line is react to your clients. React to them specifically. Create trust and create to show them that it's hard to do the right thing right now, but you're doing your best to do the right thing at all possible lengths to do so. And if you have to get on the phone with a couple of these guys, it is what it is from a clientele standpoint. That's how you move forward and, or of course, train employees to do the same, that you're able to keep on board on your message. What is your message moving forward on here's how we're doing the right thing, not necessarily here's how you lose as a client and or customer of our product or service. Remind them this is what you're doing, and you're doing it because it's the right thing to do, and make sure you're focusing on the right things to do, not the popular things, right? Which likely popular is profitability, that kind of jazz. Listen, if you're focused on profits right now, you got to get out that mindset. You're not going to get into the profitable world right now if you're a service and or a product that's based around, going outside, picking up the phone and closing business. We know it's pretty much Christmas time right now where everyone's just shut down. It's the end of December, right? We've all been there before. Think about the things that you're doing at those times and how can you kind of create trust, brand, push the needle as much as you can forward for the first time without the revenue pushing model, which I know everyone is used to. You got to think outside the box. Okay, going back to the employee side, I wanted to mention that one more time. Remember, I know it's hard decisions that are going to have to be made here, but make sure you're making a talent assessment, okay? Understand what that means to you. Who is imperative to move the business forward? Marketing and sales. Marketing goes back a little bit towards, are we doing advertising right now? Are we converting leads? What kind of leads? Well, why don't we create more things like drip campaigns? Why don't we create things that create the interest versus things that are just creating sales? Right? If you're looking for a cost per acquisition model right now, that's likely not what you're going to be seeing across the country or the world, right? So what you can't, because people just aren't buying, right? People are canceling their credit cards, like I just mentioned, more than they are actually getting new ones. So remember that, try to communicate clearly and on a consistent level with your current customers. If you're giving people credit, like my company had to do and focused on the credit, we're giving 100% credit. Across the board, we talked about 50%, we talked about 70%. And honestly, at the end of the day, the moral capacity of understanding that we were going to have national groups that are unable to travel, we want to still give them the great experience of travel. But unfortunately, we had to be able to focus on the credit aspect and give them 100% credit. We didn't have to. Terms and conditions says we don't have to. But what we did was the right thing, not the popular thing. Because one, we want to make sure our brand makes sense to our organizations and others that want to, organizations that we work with, of course, and others that want to work with us. We want our brand to come through this with a little bit of dignity if we can, right? Because that's important. When I say a little bit, we got to scrape everything together, 100% transparent. If I can give 100% refunds, I would. We can't. So the best thing that we can do is focus on future business and how to keep current clients and breaking down not necessarily future leads, but all your past leads. What can you do with them? What can you do right now to create promotions to bring on people later? What moves the needle for you now that will create revenues 2 months, 3 months down the road? Let's take for an example. If you have a contract that generally costs money, what if you gave that out for free? If you have a contract that generally is your close, what if you gave that out for free? If you're a service and you're able to give that service, bits and pieces of that out for free, but with an agreement signed saying, we're going to work with you in the future when all this is said and done, and that agreement just changes from a credit card authorization form to a agreement, and that gets signed, how does that look for you? Why don't you stack future clients and create trust versus shutting down? And think about what can create future revenues for you and what kind of tactics and now KPIs are going to be associated with those tasks, okay? Operations, understanding that, a way to improve your product and your service, this is the perfect time. Okay, go through the mock process, go through your SOPs and your workflows, go through your hiring processes, find out exactly what it is that works and what doesn't work. There's a ton of shit in there that you think that you need to just throw out, all right? I have an old yacht. It's an old boat. And I know many times when I'm sitting there messing with the electrical, sometimes in the engine room, I'm just ripping shit out. This is the time to just rip shit out that you don't like and make things easier. Remember, less is more in business and processes and procedures and workflows. So make sure that you're focusing on what to do now. That's going to be awesome later. That again coincides with what I just mentioned about the marketing and sales. What's bringing that forward, right? You might have to tweak your SOPs a little bit, right? But if you got the few employees that you're focused on, and they can now readjust their KPIs from revenue model to stacking contracts and agreements or shake hand model that gets you closest to revenues in the future, let's start breaking down those KPIs. Okay, so remember, there's ways of thinking outside the box. I hope this might help you do so. So conducting your training, obviously on your new SOPs that you create, that's going to be something that you'll be working on here in the near future if you break down or recreate a little bit of the SOPs, because that's necessary. How great would it be to have this well-oiled machine when the time comes back where, let's say, PPP comes through, EIDL comes through, right? SBA comes through. When in terms of loans, by the way, guys, I'm just dropping down the acronyms because they're way too long of words. But when all that money comes through, do you want to be in the position where you're just, great, now what do I do with it? Versus, I know where this is going to go. I know that we already have 70, 100, 50, whatever it might be, clients waiting on future revenue. And let's say half of those pan out. Isn't it better to have 25 clients waiting for future revenues versus let me just wait and then see what happens? Like, guys, get on your horse. This is a great opportunity for you to create and learn more and more about the internal structure of your business, your employees, and what can you do to move the needle the best possible way for future revenues. The next thing I have on my list is just assessing the overall game plan for the year. Maybe there's new products or services that you want to add, a new service that might kind of tap into your ecosystem. And that's something important to be able to start playing around with. We know a lot of these things, all they really need are landing pages and some ads to it. Start testing things. It's probably going to become cheaper and cheaper to be testing ads here pretty soon because there's no need to be doing a ton of ads for a lot of people. As you can see, those probably drop off, but making sure we're taking advantage of those things as well. So understand your financial reserves, understanding your personal finances, how much it takes to live for the next 30, 60, 90 days. Can you pay X, Y, and Z employee to help you push through during this time? Obviously, things like building out your just overall SOPs, your processes and systems as you move forward to ensure that everything that I just mentioned that you put hopefully into play makes sense moving forward. Good luck. God bless. Keep rocking out there, Life Nation. Life Nation, you got to remember that in order for things to change, you must change. And in order for things to get better, you must get better. You just got better by hanging out with me, Michael Libas, and the Business and Life Nation. So come back tomorrow because I'm here dropping sound bombs 7 days a week, baby. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so you can take action and execute. See you tomorrow.